Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day. Hope you are all having an amazing day today. My name is Lex and welcome back to a very sore-throated GTA 5 where today, well, right now I am probably somewhere in Asia. I don't think I will be in China at this point as you watch this video fresh on the day it comes out, but today I thought we'd look at some Chinese cars. And you're probably thinking, Lex, that's a Volkswagen? Volkswagen's German? Well, okay, the Santana was actually sold in Europe and was designed in Europe, I guess. But a lot, in fact, all of the Santanas that are in China were built in Shanghai because Volkswagen has a whole Volkswagen Shanghai sect where they build cars and design cars and all this sort of stuff. And this is pretty much the people's car of China. This is the car that got China, like, back, well, not back on the streets. I guess they didn't have cars in the first place. This is what got people around in China. This is like the first proper mass-produced vehicle. And if any of you have ever been to China would know, these things are still everywhere. Although I think the government is, cracking down on these older generation of Santanas. But I have been in quite a few myself, because they still remain as taxis and stuff. Not in tier 1 cities, but in tier 2 cities like Suzhou, where I spend some time, and where I will be spending some time, perhaps not when this video comes out, but when I'm in China I'll be in Suzhou. And this is one of the cars that I'll probably be sitting in at some point, being driven around as a taxi. So in today's video I just want to check out some cool Chinese cars that some Chinese mod makers have made to stick into GTA 5. But before we do that, there's not going to be some comments on the screen, which is usually what happens at this point in the video. But I just want you guys to leave some comments in the comment section below, because I will be doing a Q&A video once I get back from Japan/China, and I will be answering your questions in... I'll basically pick at least one question from every video. Maybe some videos will have several questions, maybe some videos will only have one, but just leave your questions here, and if I find a good question, I'll put it in my Q&A video once I get back. So, let's just park up and have a look at this. And in fact, also, I should probably plug my Twitter and my Instagram, because I will be tweeting and posting stuff, at least whilst I'm in Japan, because I will have internet in Japan. My Instagram is _Figureight, and my Twitter is @Figureight. There'll be links to both of those in the description below. So, this is the Volkswagen Santana. Now, this is Shanghai does something. Shanghai does something. I don't know what that last character is. But yeah, this is obviously Shanghai Volkswagen. This is the old, not the original Santana. I feel like the original Santana didn't have such a thick bumper, but I think that was just the European ones that did. Perhaps this is a proper first gen Santana. It does look it from the front, but the thing is, these things were built for a very long time. They just had a few tweaks here and there. But this does have the original dashboard, so this has to be a first-gen Chinese Santana. So here we have the interior going on. We've got a little book going on here. This is obviously Senran. This is obviously the maker of this mod. I'm not going to read any of these because I can only see that character is Ren. That's about the only character I recognize. There it is again. And I think that's Guotang? Guotang mod? I'll tell you, my Chinese has definitely got a bit rusty. Shanghai something. There's a Xiao. There you go. I do know some characters. So this is the Santana. This is actually really nice and clean and tidy, which not many of them are anymore. And yeah, I've spent many a time where I've sat in the back and had this. And also note this more modern Volkswagen steering wheel. This is why it makes me think it might not be a first gen. But yeah, a lot of the newer Santanas just had like the same old dashboard and the same old body. They just had like a newer steering wheel and like a perhaps newer engine and some newer wheels. Yeah, I think this might be a second gen. I don't know, I'm really not clued up on my Santanas. So, if we just go to customs, and there's actually nothing we can do to this car really. So basically, if I wanted to do something, it would just be a case of wheels and slam. So, oh, why not? Why not? Let's go for it. I mean, it's completely against the ethos of the... Completely against either side of the Santana. As soon as I put these wheels on, it just looks so mad. Yeah, I've actually seen a Santana in Europe that had wheels very similar to that. So, do you know what? I'm going to go for those. And we'll brighten up a bit because I think most of the Santanas in China came in dark colors, possibly black. I think I've seen a lot of black ones, but I know the taxis are in different colors. There we go. We'll just go with the nice, simple blue, shall we? And then I'll just make the wheels a little bit wider, a little bit smaller because they are quite big. And slam her down as much as we can. Tuck those front wheels in. There we go. It's not going to be completely slammed, but there we go. Track that in. And there we are. There's just a lightly modified Volkswagen Santana right there. So, let's move on then to something a bit more modern. And it is this, the Wuling Hongguang S1. Now, I don't know the tones for that Wuling Hongguang, so I'm just going to call it the Wuling Hongguang. Could be the Wuling Hongguang or something, you know. There's so many different ways this could be said. I have no idea. Apparently, somewhere that I read that this is like one of the highest sold cars in China. I don't know when this came out, but when I went in 2014, definitely didn't see one of these. But I will be having a look and seeing if I can spot any of these whilst I'm in China. Now, I have actually, for my visa in China, promised that I won't be doing any media coverage. Now, I'm not sure if YouTube counts as media, but I really wanted to at least have like a video where I went car spotting in China, but I don't know if I will. So I might only be doing videos coming from Japan. But I will be trying to look out for one of these. Maybe I'll post it to my Instagram, so keep a lookout if I do spot one. So this is the Wuling Hongguang S1. It's a people carrier made by Wuling. Let's just go to the back. What have we got here? That's a Shang, but that's not Shanghai. That's a Shang something. That's going to be the... That's a Guang, that last one. So I guess that's Hongguang. Wuling Hongguang? Maybe. But it's a very weird looking car. The thing is, I mean, it's easy for people to hate on Chinese cars, but I'm going to stick up for China here. Because, oh, actually, that's quite detailed. Is that also China? Oh, it's all in Chinese and everything. Oh, look at that. But if you think about where China was 20 years ago and where they are now, I know that they still have cars that have got like really poor safety records and stuff, but they're really getting a move on. They're really trying. So do you know what? I probably wouldn't own one of these cars, but I appreciate that they're trying to make something out of this. But here we have the Wuling's interior, the Hongguang's interior. There's a sort of clock, sat-nav, wheel and everything. That wheel looks very General Motors as well. Looks like you could easily put a Vauxhall badge on that or a Chevrolet badge, and it would just fit in one of those. Maybe it is part of General Motors. I don't know. Maybe it is. Definitely never seen one before, though. And again, I don't think there are actually any tuning options for any of these. So it would just be a case if I wanted to, I can just put some wheels and slam on it again. Am I really going to do this to every single car? I think I am. Do you know what? We'll be different with this one. Let's make this an off-roader. Seems like it's already pretty lifted and looks quite huge. Actually, it's got a really high cabin line. They are big windows. So we'll do that. We'll go to paints. We'll go to matte and go for like a desert tan something. There we go. Look, make it a bit more military. Or actually, we want to go for olive drab if it's China. There we go. And then we'll just go to V-Stancer, and I'll just make the wheels a bit bigger. Let's get rid of that camera view. We'll make it a bit wider, and we'll make them a bit bigger, a bit wider. There we go. Sort out all the collisions, front and rear, and then we'll just go for some visual lowering, because otherwise this thing's going to be really just top heavy and just topple over. There we go. I mean, that's a bit stupid, but there's a funny second build right there. There is the Wuling Hongguang S1. Let's move on to something, should we like go old, new with this one? And in fact, seeing we've just done military, let's sort of go with old/military. Let's check out the BAIC BJ2022 Brave Warrior. Let's go. And here it is. Right here. Actually, I mean, you can see how like weak and feeble and thin the other car looks now when you add this to it. So this is actually the Beijing, it says on the front there. But this is apparently the BAIC. Oh, I guess Beijing Auto Company. Ah, that must be what the B stands for. Okay, it's the BJ2022 Brave Warrior, as far as I know. What have we got here? Beijing Bay something. Yeah, okay. And this is just, I don't know how new this is. I think this is actually a relatively new car. By the way, whoever made this add-on and decided to use this sort of handling file, this is not the right sound for this thing. Nor is it the right speed. This thing's actually quite light. It feels light and nimble. Look at that. This thing, I'd imagine, would be really slow, heavy, would have to sort of like a heavy V8 sound. No, apparently the Insurgents sound like a Ford Mondeo. Okay. Yeah, we'll just stick with the Blade. I think that's going to have a nice hefty V8 going on there. There we go. So, of course, there's actually not really anything we can do. Menus customs. And as we've just done a lifted off-road thing, I want to sort of slam this and make this into some sort of like gangster, like a G-Wagon equivalent, even though it's really not. I mean, you can tell from the front, this is very Hummer-inspired. In fact, if we just go onto the interior, you can see it's got a nice, wide interior in here. This looks very much like something you'd expect from a Hummer. But we've actually got everything going on in here in Chinese as well. And it's very hot. 33°C. Yikes. Actually, interestingly, the hottest temperature I've ever experienced was in Beijing. 40 degrees Celsius, walking around the Forbidden City, which is actually this huge, vast, open area that you walk through open area and then you get like this shaded bit and then you go through the other bit and it's just another big, huge open area. And in 40 degrees, it was too much for me. Let's just go for wheels. I'm going to, I think these sports wheels are probably going to just look too dumb on this. Yeah, in fact, actually, we can't do anything that's deep dish because of those brake calipers right there. So actually, I'm just going to turn this into the jankiest looking thing you've ever seen. I don't know if I should really go for those triple spoke things or some like supercar wheels. I mind you, we've got a bunch of SUV wheels, but I did want to go for some sort of like chrome blinged sort of look. Ah, there we go. Sod it. Let's give it a try. So we'll just go and go to V-Stancer. Go to suspension menu. I just want to slam this down, really. Yep, there we go. We'll tuck it in as well. Tuck that in the rear. Tuck that in the front. And, well, hey presto, that's what a BA IC2022 Brave Warrior looks like if it was on air with big, massive wheels on it. Yeah. Right, so now this is sort of old looking. Let's go back to modern day, where we have the BYD Tang. Again, another car that I don't think I've ever seen, but again, I went in 2014. This looks like it is perhaps a 2016-ish model. Not entirely sure. The brakes are terrible though, but actually this looks like a nice modern European SUV. If I saw this on the streets in England, I wouldn't think there's a weird Chinese car like I perhaps would with the Wuling Hongguang, but this sort of looks like, yeah, it could be anything. You'd stick a Nissan badge on that and I'd be like, yeah, okay, there's a Nissan. But that's probably something bad to say about Nissan rather than something good to this, because actually, to be honest, most cars these days just look the same and boring. I like the Wuling Hongguang because it looks different. But here we have this. Let's get a repair. Have a quick look around. It's very chrome. It's very modern looking. In fact, if this had a Kia badge on it, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense to me. And then we have this. I think that says Tang, but I could be wrong because there's also some other characters here. But obviously that wouldn't be Tang because that's 3 characters. Then on the interior, look at this. This is a fancy looking interior with another GM looking steering wheel. Oh, that hurt. And then we have just a bunch of stuff, which also, interestingly, this must be a detail from the real BYD Tang. This does actually have the particulate information. If for anyone wondering, I'm doing videos again, but I'm not better. Wow, that sneaks up. So in China, obviously, pollution is a thing, and people in China are very much on ball with like where we get the weather update. They get the weather and the pollution update. So it's interesting that also has that information in car. I've never really thought about that before, but that makes sense. That's pretty cool. It'd be nice actually we could have that over here. I mean, it'd just be nice to know, yes, I'm in a nice clean air area. But yeah, that's very much Chinese, having to deal with that. And yeah, there's the interior. Again, do we really need to modify this? I might actually keep this one stock just because I feel like that suits this car a lot better. But I just want to have a quick look with the doors. Just want to see what this one looks like. If I was to open up all the doors, open up all of these, hood and trunk. Ah, so actually, oh, we've got a nice Jester bug going on there. We've got some lights hanging on. Oh, actually some other bits seem to carry on with that. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, okay. Some bits weren't attached properly to that. But that's fine. That's fine. And then we have our rather meaty looking engine in there. Great. Right, so we've actually got one more car. And I'd say it's the coolest car of the video, which is why I've left the best till last. And anyone who's actually ever watched Jay Leno's Garage might recognize this car.
You got lucky, buddy.
Let's have a look. And here it is. It is the Hongxi. Or the Hongxi. The rising tone is the tone that I struggle with the most. Hongxi. Zhongguoyi something. Don't know what that other character is there. Zhongguoyi something. And this is the Hongxi Zhijiao, or the E Zhijiao. I think that's right. The E-Class. Mercedes. Not Mercedes. It's, I guess, sort of like a Mercedes. I'm not sure if this is actually called the E-Class, because I know that the video where it had the one that Jay Leno drove, it was the CA something 770, I think it was. This might be a newer rendition of it, because this does sort of look a bit curvy, a bit modernized, but this could actually be the one that was made in the 70s. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, this interior does look quite classic, but it has got a nice big screen in the middle, so I don't know. The age of this car eludes me, I'll admit. There we are, and also some rather weird looking seats there. There's the interior right now, with our steering wheel, the Hongxi badge. I guess that's the Hongxi badge. And we do actually have working speedometer in this one, which is pretty cool. And we've got these flags, which do actually sway around. They are sort of stuck down in that one corner, I guess, so they always, like, pull back, which does make it look a bit weird. But as you start driving, they flap around. It's amazing. I do actually wonder if they didn't really need to stick down that bottom bit. They could just sit down normally without wind and then move when you start driving. I don't know. Maybe you had to do that. But I think this thing actually looks really badass. It's just really cool. It's definitely got some sort of like Russian style influences going on here. It does look like an old Soviet era car. But obviously Soviet era cars of that time were also inspired by American cars and European cars. So there's like a little bit of Mercedes in there and a little bit of like an old Lincoln or something like that in there. So I'm always interested in these weird and wonderful cars. And of course, with a car like this, you've got to slam it, haven't you? That's just like the rule. So, if actually, before we do, I just want to see if we do have the suicide doors in the rear. I'm curious about that. So let's go. Oh, we do. There's like full RX-7 style going on here, but this one has pillars. Get a load of that. Then we also have the hood and the trunk. We didn't check this for every vehicle, but it's pretty much the same. We just, whoa, okay, that's simplistic. I was not expecting simplicity of that level. Yeah, okay. So let's just close all this sort of stuff down. All these awesome suicide doors in the rear. Close all of that. And let's just go to menus, customs. And this doesn't really have any sort of mods or any sort of stuff. So again, it's just a case of wheel and slam. And I don't know what wheels are going to suit this. I guess, oh, look at that. That does look nice though. I mean, it is quite an old car and these are quite modern looking wheels. But I don't know. It just looks cool. Now actually, I'm sort of tempted by these wheels. There's something about it that just suits this car, I feel. I'm sure people would disagree. Or that. Because it's sort of like a nice classic look, but deep dish. I'm actually going to go for that because it looks a little bit sporty, even though this isn't really supposed to be sporty, but I like that. Now, we perhaps should keep it with this nice glossy black, but I'm curious to see what the chrome looks like. Okay. I mean, you get rid of those flags, and actually Hongxi means red flag. Hongxi. Which is obviously why there's red flag there and red flags here. But if you got rid of those flags and perhaps that red flag bit there, even though that is, mind you, that could be considered gangster. That's kind of cool. It's an interesting look. I mean, it's very communist style. Perhaps people aren't into that. But I do think if this was like on the driveway of some rapper's house, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's odd. I'd say like, yeah, that makes sense. It looks like a chrome Bentley or something. Do you know what, that's interesting enough that I'm going to keep that chrome. but it does mean that we need to get chrome wheels to match. Now, I couldn't find a nice set of wheels that were chrome, so I've just gone for these wheels because they just look sort of like the sort of thing you would get on this car, and I've just made them black. I mean, we'll go chrome and black. It's an odd look, but it's an odd car. We'll be different today. And then I guess it's just going to be a case of slamming, I guess. Let's just try that. Let's just slam it down. I mean, what happens if we just get it right to the ground like that? I think that we might... Yeah, we're going to have to get a bit of camber, I think, if we wanted to do that. We'll knock it up a little bit. Like that. Front camber, we'll get a little bit of it. And bring that out. And then we'll do the same on the rear. Just get some rear camber. So we can tuck it in the arches a bit more. And I guess, yeah, that's a slam down chrome Hongxi. For reasons, well, I don't know. And, well, there we are. So we looked at the Wuling Huangguang S1, the BYD Tang, the Volkswagen Santana, of course, the classic, the Hongxi, and then the BAIC BJ2022 Brave Warrior. And there we are. Just wanted to check out some random Chinese cars. If I do spot any of these, I will keep a lookout. I will post pictures to my Instagram, so you can check me out _Figureight on Instagram, or also Twitter @Figureight. Both of those links to those profiles will be in the description below as always. And don't forget, guys, to just leave comments in the comment section below. Also, actually, perhaps just what you think about Chinese cars, because I know they've got a bit of a reputation. Just nice to hear your thoughts. And also to give me some questions for a Q&A coming up once I get back from traveling. But there we are, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, as seems to be a tradition at the end of these videos lately, my throat is torn to shreds. So I'll leave you all to it. I'll see you guys all later. Goodbye.